Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I am here to talk about all of the books that I want to read for the rest of June. So this TBR is getting to you very late in terms of monthly TBRs, but that's because I'm not talking about the entire month. I already talked about the books that I wanted to read for the first week of June in my Queer Lit Readathon TBR. If you want to go check that out, I should have a vlog up soon that covers the Queer Lit Readathon and everything that I finished reading during that readathon. But I'm here to talk about what I want to read for the rest of June because I am participating in 2 more readathons in June, and that's mostly where my reading is going to happen. It's going to happen during these other 2 readathons. I will, of course, be reading exclusively queer books because for me, that is what June is about. You know that this channel is about reading queer lit as often as possible, but in June, I completely set aside anything that is not about a queer main character. And for Pride, I focus on queer stories. I also wanted to participate in so many readathons in June because, first of all, it helps motivate me to read more, but second of all, I want always to sort of emphasize that you can always read queer books for any readathon. It doesn't have to be limited to specific, like, diverse readathons, queer lit readathons. Any challenges that exist for any readathon, you can find a queer book that fits those challenges. So, with that out of the way, let me talk about the books that I'm planning to read for the BuzzwordAthon and the SummerAthon. So first up, I want to talk about my TBR for the BuzzwordAthon. This is being hosted by Lala and Chanel, and the whole sort of theme of BuzzwordAthon is just to read books with the particular buzzword or buzzwords in the title. This is round 4 of BuzzwordAthon. I haven't ever been able to participate before, but this time I am participating, and this readathon is going from June 12th to June 18th. And the buzzword for round 4 of BuzzwordAthon is you, so the point is just to read books with you in the title, and I have 4 of those to talk about. All 4 of these are arcs, but one of them has already been released. So these are the 4 books. I'll talk about the one that's been released already first. So You Asked for Perfect by Laura Silverman is my first option. This came out in March. This is about a senior in high school named Ariel who is like a top student. But more and more as the year goes on, he starts falling behind, so he winds up having to get a tutor named Amir, and the 2 of them possibly fall for each other. This has a lot of elements that sort of remind me of Radio Silence, which is why I was drawn to it in the first place, so I'm excited to read this. I also have Tell Me How You Really Feel by Aminah Safi. This is being released in June and is a enemies to lovers female-female romance set in high school. Also, this is exciting because we have 2 beautiful women of color on the cover of this book, clearly, in love. I have wanted to read this for months. It was sent to me back in January, and now is finally the time. Next, I have If It Makes You Happy by Kann. This is being released in June. This is also being released in June. This is about a main character named Winnie, here on the cover of the book, who is busy living her best fat girl life, and then she is elected Misty Haven's summer queen, and she's sort of thrust into the spotlight of all that. I don't know exactly which identities this is exploring, but it did say in the original summary that this has a central, queer platonic relationship, and I absolutely love Kann's first book, Let's Talk About Love, which also has a beautiful happy black girl on the cover, and this dealt with a biromantic ace girl, and I think either asexual or aromantic stuff is going to be dealt with in this. Again, I'm not sure, but the main character is queer, and there's going to be queer stuff, so this one's on the list. And the last book on my TBR for the BuzzwordAthon is I Hope You Get This Message by Farah Naz Rishi. This is being released in October of this year, October 22nd, and it's about 3 teens when they are faced with the fact that the world is going to end in less than 1 week. This has an Own Voices Pakistani-American main character, and of course there's also a central gay character. I don't know how the other 2 identify, but at least one, Jesse, is gay, and this has gotten a lot of comps and feels very similar to We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson, so I am very eager to read this. I picked this up at Book Expo, and Farah actually signed it for me. You'll see this in my Book Expo haul, but I'll show you this now. There's that. But that is the last book I have on my BuzzwordAthon TBR. Next up, I want to talk about SummerAthon. This is the readathon that is running from June 21st through the 27th, and it is being hosted by Amy, Heather, Melanie, Jen, and Amy. 2 Amy's. I will leave the links for all of the hosts of both of these readathons linked down in the description below, so please go check out absolutely everyone who is creating great bookish content this June. SummerAthon is, of course, all about reading summary books, because it's during the summer. It's all in the title. There are 6 challenges total for this readathon, and I am planning on reading 4 books to accomplish these 6 challenges. The first challenge is to read a beachy book. This is open for interpretation, but ultimately just sort of a lighthearted book that's good to read on the beach. I don't have a beach, so I won't be reading it at the beach, but the beachy book that I'm planning on reading is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is a new adult male-male romance that is about if the first son of America fell for the Prince of Wales, and literally everybody in the world is obsessed with this. So it's finally time I got around to reading it. I'm very excited to read it. I think I'm going to love it. I had to read this month, and this feels like a perfect beachy read. The next challenge is to read a book with sunrise colors on the cover, and for this I'm going to be reading Kings, Queens, and In-Betweens by Tanya Bateju, and this is actually the patron-chosen book for my June reading month. In case you don't know, every single month my patrons select a book for me to read the following month, and this is the June pick. Kings, Queens, and In-Betweens. I want to thank all of my patrons so much for continuing to support me and for helping me to create awesome stuff. In particular, I would love to thank my librarian patrons, who are my patrons at the highest level. My librarian patrons are Babette, Christine, Shadow, Jenna, Rebecca, and Rocks at aspiring_rocks on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys so very much for all that you do and for all of the support that you offer me. I'm very excited to read this book. This is about a biracial queer girl sort of finding her way when she discovers the drag culture that has always existed in her town, but she never knew it was there. I'm very, very happy that YA has started this year getting into the trend of talking about drag and drag culture, so I think this is going to be perfect, and of course the main character is also queer. And this is sunrise colors on the side and on the front. I found this particular picture of a sunrise. Doesn't it match this book perfectly? So that's this book. The next challenge is to read a book that has road trips, traveling, or a vacation, and for this I'm planning to read Small Town Hearts by Lily Vale. This is already released, even though this is an ARC. This came out back in March. This is set during summer vacation, and it is about a girl who is dealing with the fallout of, like, her 2 other friends. Their little friend group has broken up, and she's dealing with the fact that her ex-girlfriend is back in town, and then she meets a summer boy named Levi, and she starts to fall for him. So this has a central bisexual main character, and I think it's going to be summery and perfect. And it is set during summer vacation, so vacation. The next challenge is to read a book set in the summer, and the challenge after that is to read a book with food on the cover. This too. This is covering a lot of challenges. And the final challenge is to read a book while drinking your favorite summery beverage. My favorite summery drink is iced coffee, and I will be drinking that whilst reading The Tea Dragon Festival by Katie O'Neill. This is just a quick little graphic novel. I picked up this copy at Book Expo. See some of the art in there. I read Tea Dragon Society in May and loved it, and this has central queer characters and is overall super diverse and lovely, and is about dragons who grow tea leaves on their backs and the people who take care of them. I'm pretty sure that this has a non-binary character, but I'm not 100% sure. I just think I saw that on Twitter, but this does still have central queer characters, and I'm excited to read it. And the last book that I'm going to talk about is not on my TBR for either of these readathons, but I really would like to read it at some point in June in like the couple of days between readathons, and that is An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. This is a science fiction story. It is set aboard a spaceship called the HSS Matilda, which is a space vessel organized much like the antebellum South, according to the back. I've really wanted to read anything by Rivers Solomon. They have a new book that's coming out this year that I'm really excited to read, but in particular, I wanted to read this because it has an Own Voices intersex protagonist, and I have never found a book with an Own Voices intersex protagonist before, so I'm very interested in reading this, and this also has a main character who is autistic, and I've heard very positive things about the autism rep as well. So all of that great stuff is happening, plus like really in-depth discussions of race and segregation location, and it's all a sci-fi story. This is just very, very up my alley, so I really want to read it, even though it doesn't fit the challenges of any of the other readathons I'm participating in. Hopefully, I can slide this in the middle of all of those other books. But with that, I am done talking about the books that I'm planning on reading in the month of June, or for the last few weeks of June. If you have read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts about them down in the comments below. If you loved them, if you hated them, if you really want to read them and haven't read them yet. Plus, let me know what some of the queer books on your TBR this June are. I know that not everyone is reading exclusively queer books in June, but I hope you're reading at least a couple, and I would love to hear more about some of the books that you have chosen. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!